Hello everyone, welcome back. Got some goodies in today. I got another one of these Holosun 510C with magnifier combo. And I wanted to show you this package, this thing as a package. I have ordered it before. I bought this one here as a package. Used it for, I don't know, several weeks now. I actually bought one last year. So I'm very familiar with this product. So it's not like I'm just pulling something out of the box for the first time and showing you, okay, this is the box and this is what's inside it. I'm very familiar with the product. Now you are able to buy the Holosun 510C separate from the magnifier. Usually when you do that, the 510C is about something like $300. And then the magnifier is $200. It costs you $500 together. If you buy it as a combo, it was $475, and then with some discounts and other stuff I found on Optics Planet, I got it down a little bit more. But I wanted to show you, this is like really cool the way you ship it. So this is the second time I'm buying it as a unit like this. So they give it to you in this really cool little lunchbox. So first time I opened it, I'm like, I saw this, I'm like, wow, this is nice. I mean, you can use this as an ammo box, small, you could put fill it up with 223 or 9mm. So this makes a really cool little ammo box. Because obviously, once you put the stuff, once I put stuff on the rifle, it doesn't go back in the box. So yeah, you could pull out the foam and use it as an ammo box. I think the box is really cool. I could do a whole video just on this cool box, but anyway, I'm not going to do that. But I did want to point out a couple of cool things. I've already talked about. I've done other videos on both the optic and the magnifier. I've discussed them in detail. I've talked about zeroing it. I've talked about point of aim, point of impact shifts. If you're shooting it with the magnifier or without the magnifier, there's about a 3-inch shift. So I've covered that in other videos. But one of the things I thought was worth mentioning that I want to talk about in this video, if you get this combo, right, there's two things that you get that you normally don't get if you get these things separate, or you have to pay extra for them. So you get your optic, right? You get your optic, you get your magnifier, but the two little extra things that you get is you get a riser for both the optic and also for the magnifier. Okay, if you're going to use it on one, you got to use it on the other. When I first started playing with the 510Cs, I thought it was a little bit low compared to what I had been used to. At the time, I could not find that riser. I spoke to a couple of other guys, and they said they were quite comfortable using this without the riser. And plus, I have several of these 510s, on several guns. So even though this one came with the riser, I didn't want to put it on here because at this point, I don't want it to be different from my other ARs that had the 510C. So for that reason, I'm using it without the riser for consistency's sake. But if at some point, it seems to be pretty, because it's a big window, so it's a pretty big window, so it really doesn't feel that much different. At some point down the road, if I decide I'm going to use the riser on one of them, I'm going to probably order number 5 or 6, however, and put risers on all of them. I don't want to put the risers on some of my 510s, but not on the others, because then that's just weird. I want consistency. So I thought that was really cool that it comes with this riser. Now, if you buy the magnifier by itself, that does come with the riser, because you're going to need it if you use like one of the tube optics from Holosun, like the 503 CUs, right? If any of the 503 ones, you're gonna need that. You're gonna need the riser on this magnifier. But if you're using it with the 510, you don't need it unless you put the riser on the optic. Then you do need it. Okay, so one of the things I really like about these the 510 and this magnifier is that they have this little quick attach that allows you to quickly mount it on the gun, okay, which I'm going to do now. Now, one of the things worth mentioning, okay, one of my 510Cs, it's not on the table now, but one of my 510Cs, one of the things to be aware of is the this little lock, because it has like this locking system, right? Where so it's kind of like a, lock. It clamps down, and then this thing little kind of like goes forward. And the only thing that kind of holds this in place is like a little Allen screw that sticks out a little bit. Well, this whole thing just came off one of my optics, one of my 510Cs, which I did contact Holosun, sent them an email. Sooner or later they'll see it, and ask them for a replacement. But just something to be aware of, that this little piece here that locks this clip in place, is a vulnerability. This can vibrate loose over time and come off. Now, if it does come off, it will still lock. Right? It won't lock. It'll still clamp down, and you'll still be able to shoot the gun. So it's not like it's critical, because I was shooting that gun earlier today. It's not like the optic fell off or anything, but just be aware that this little locking piece here is a vulnerable point that can fall off. Okay, so 510C, really like this. It's got like a big window. It's basically like an EOTech. It's an EOTech copy, kind of, with the difference being that the EOTech is a true holographic sight, whereas this is an LED sight. Holographic meaning that, listen, even if the glass were to break, right, completely fall out, the image would still project out, I guess, into space, and into the area in front of the optic. You can still see it without the glass. Whereas this one, the emitter actually reflects the reticle onto the glass, and you're seeing a reflection. So if the glass is not there, you can't see it. You're not going to see it. Okay. In fact, you can actually cover this up with blue tape, and so you don't actually. I've talked about in other videos where your eyes basically, if you because sometimes your glass can fog up. If your left eye sees the target, your right eye can see in the glass over here, and see the reticle. Your brain basically magically combines the two. Okay, but you need the glass. It doesn't matter if the glass is covered on the outside or dirty, but you do need the glass for that LED image to reflect upon. So this is really good, and it's solar powered with a battery backup. I usually use it with the battery because I like being able to adjust the brightness setting. A lot of times, if I'm shooting from a shady area into a sunny area, if I'm using the solar power mode, it's just not bright enough. Okay, so I typically shoot this in manual mode, and I adjust. One of the things I like about this 510 is it does have the bigger buttons compared to like other, like the 503 series and other stuff where they got the small, these are nice big buttons that I can quickly adjust, and it's really good because I primarily shoot on my right side. So from there, it's really easy for me to come back here with my thumb and adjust these buttons with my thumb. Whereas on like the 503s, it's on the other side, so I usually have to come over the top like that. So it's the 510's button placement is a little bit more convenient for me. If you're a lefty, it's not going to be convenient for you. If you're a lefty, you're going to be on this side, and you're going to be reaching over the top like that. So, I mean, you can't make everybody happy. They can't put it on the other side. You can't have it on both sides because you got the battery tray on the other side. So just something to be aware of. I personally like the large buttons of the 510C. I like the reticle options. You get a 65 MOA circle. You got 2 MOA dot. You can use one or the other or both. Okay, so you can have circle only, dot only, circle and dot. I usually with the 510C, I use the circle with the dot. Okay, and then with the magnifier, again, nice thing about the magnifier is you have the option of quickly taking it off. So I just got this rifle in today. We'll do a separate video on this rifle. This is my it's really a desert colored rifle, but I'm going to call it, because obviously I'm not in a desert, but this is going to look really cool in the wintertime, right? Because it's kind of like whitish. So this will be my winter rifle. So I got this from Palmetto. This is a 9mm. Okay, I wanted to because I do shoot lots of 9mm. A lot of times when I'm training people, they if they have 9mm, they're able to shoot both rifles and pistols. So these Palmetto PX9s work really great for me. This one is, you know, obviously this was expensive. It was like a $1,200 rifle. So because of the coloring, and then it's got it says hybrid, right? It says palmetto hybrid over here. The buffer weight is kind of like a double. Actually, I don't even want to take it apart because last time I took it apart earlier and had stuff flying. The buffer weight is actually, it's kind of like a double spring in there, because the 9mm, because this is a blowback system, right? Doesn't have the locking mechanism. The blowbacks tend to be very hard on the rifles because it's a straight blowback. There's nothing to cushion it. You know, it doesn't rotate to kind of slow it down a little bit. So they tend to beat the guns up a lot. They did like a double spring on the buffer, right? Because you got the recoil spring, and then inside the buffer itself, there's also another spring. I'm going to do a separate video just on this rifle where I'm going to take it apart and show it to you guys. I really don't want to get into that right now because I did it earlier and I was like chasing after like little parts and stuff. So I'm not going to take this apart right now. But going back on topic, let's get these optics on there. Obviously, I'm going to have to zero this in. Get that on it. There we go. So that clamps. So right now you can kind of, obviously I got to zero this in. Let me see. There you go. That's my reticle. All right, it's already set to manual mode. So that looks really good. Okay. And then my same thing, quick attach on the magnifier. Put that back here. Quick attach that into place. And that's it, man. Look at that. I love the way the colors match up. You got like tan colored over here, and then you got black, 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 black. So I'm loving the way this is looking. So yeah, this is really cool. Lately I've gotten a lot into colors. I mean, black rifles, they just don't do it for me anymore. You know, same thing with pistols. Like, well, you guys have noticed a lot of my pistols, they got colors on now. So I mean, I just got so many black rifles that at this point I want something other than a black rifle. I want different colored rifles. When I saw this one, it's like I had to have it. The one thing that's kind of like a little weird for me, basically the rail comes all the way, like it's basically a 16-inch rail. Well, I don't know, I didn't measure the barrels here. It's almost 16 inches. It's almost the full length of the barrel because that's the break cage. So without measuring it, this is almost 16 inches. Usually I'm used to most of my rails coming up a little bit short or even shorter, even, you know, because, you know, normally I don't need, because my hand basically goes here. So this is kind of like extra weight up here. So for me, same deal here. My hand's going to go here somewhere. So all that extra area over here is now just extra weight that I'm really not going to be using much. But I can kind of understand why they went with the long rail. I mean, if you're buying this gun, you're probably, you know, I'm paying the extra money. You probably, you know, like the color, right? So the thing was that if you're paying extra for a fancy colored rifle, you want as much of that fancy color as possible. So they extended the rail all the way out here so you can get a couple more inches of fancy color. So, yeah, this is really cool. Really loving it. I haven't even fired this gun yet. Just put the optics on it. As soon as I close the video camera, I'm going to start zeroing this in. So at some point I'll do a video just about that rifle, and I'll talk about the very interesting buffer weight that's in it. So look forward to that. So if you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.